Welcome back. And of course, we're moving into our first segment for today as we focus on Energy Week. Energy Week is being celebrated under the theme Sustainable Energy for Sustainable Development. And we're joined by representatives of the Ministry of Public Service, Energy and Public Utilities. We have with us Leroy Cayetano, who is the Public Relations Officer, and we have Ryan Cobb, who is the Energy Officer. Good morning and welcome, and thank you for being here.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having us.
I love the topic of sustainable energy. So in Belize, is sustainable energy a thing?
Actually, yes, it is. What a lot of people don't realize is that most of the energy that we get, specifically for electricity, comes from renewable energies, from our rivers, from our fields, such as hydro and bagasse from cane. Yeah. So we are already practicing sustainable energy for sustainable development.
Now, I think that's a great point because we have been talking a bit about renewable energy for some time and looking at possibilities of solar and several different ideas have popped up at this time. But let's talk about the commitment of this particular ministry. We've heard for a long time that we want to be able to move the country to a place where we're no longer reliant on electricity or energy from Mexico. And let's talk about what you guys do as the ministry to be able to support that in the first place.
Currently, there are some projects that Ryan will elaborate on, ongoing projects that we must give kudos to our Minister, Honorable Frank Papamena, CEO Dr. Allen, and our Director, Mr. Ambrose Tillett, who have been played a vital role in actually getting these projects off hand. To date, we have the La Gracia project, and Ryan can lament on that. We have the Energy Resilient for Climate Change project and also the solar street lighting project that is currently underway. So Ryan, you might want to elaborate on that a little.
So for the general public, getting or winning ourselves off Mexico, we have initiated projects that were confirmed last year. And actually this year is when one of the projects is coming online, which is Santander, the sugar mill. Last year, they, as you would have known in the news, that they produced sugar and molasses, but they weren't able to export any excess electricity to the grid. But this year, they will come online and supply the general public.
Okay. How much energy will they be supplying? What's the estimate at this point?
Well, the estimate in total, they'll be generating somewhere around 23 megawatts of power. So that's quite significant. Yeah. That's about the same size as Belcogen.
As
so
the dams, yeah.
It's quite significant.
And why is that important for the public to know?
Well, it's important to public to know because one, it's a commitment from the ministry of not just buying the cheapest power out there, because the cheapest power out there might not be clean power. Also, this type of infrastructure not just provides power, but it also provides employment and other social benefits to the community.
Now, the theme for this year's Energy Week, Sustainable Energy for Sustainable Development, how do you explain that to people?
One of the things that we're harping on this year is basically using energy efficiently. And one way we're doing that is to target our student population. Because who better to deliver this message than our student? They would go home and share the idea with their parents, friends, family, etc., and get the word out. Oftentimes you'll hear that I'm paying high electricity bill, but what am I doing? What am I actually doing to defray some of these costs? And there are little things that can be done, you know, such as turning off the lights when it's not in use, plugging out appliances when not in use. So for this, we're actually farping with our students. Our students is one of our catalysts of this change because we want to move the general public. They are knowledgeable, they are aware. We want to move them from that communication strategy along to basically changing behavior. We want to change the behavior of how we can conserve energy.
Okay. You know, speaking of changing behavior in the way that we use energy in Belize, I know that in other Caribbean countries, it's actually integrated into the building policies that you must include some kind of sustainable energy mechanism or source, right? In Belize, are we at that stage as yet?
We are actually at that initial stage right now. So we are working with the region to basically revamp our building codes so as to think of energy not just an afterthought, But from the beginning of building all buildings, of all new buildings, that is going to be now included within their building codes. So yes.
Leroy mentioned earlier a solar energy street lighting project.
Yes.
Can you tell us a bit more about that?
So we were very fortunate for receiving some solar street lights from our partners in Taiwan, from the Taiwan embassy. And we have piloted this project in Dangriga, specifically in public areas, in park areas, where typically you wouldn't have street lights. So the initial estimate right now is that we are gonna be inaugurating these solar street lights this Saturday on Garifuna Settlement Day.
Oh, nice timing.
So it's tying
Yeah.
both technology and culture together, showing how they are not separate, but they're one and the same.
Very, that's a good connection.
And that leads me to the point of we conclude the week with a energy fair, which this year will be held in Dangriga town. As Ryan rightly said, we want to inaugurate, it is, Elehobeni Park is where the fair will be held. And Elehobeni Park is the recipient of some of these lights. So what better fitting setting to do the inauguration right at the same park?
Now that's, I think, one of the innovative ideas, and we've seen many all over the world where some of the public energy systems are supplemented by solar energy, so it doesn't drain as much as it would if you had to electrify it. A part of being able to get people to buy into renewable energies, having them understand it. We started off by saying that yes, we speak about renewable energy, but we neglect to mention how we already utilize the bagasse and the dams for quite some time to be able to be our energy sources. On the flip side of it, I know there has been also a sustained campaign to teach people about how our energy use also affects this process. What do you tell people for them to help build the connection about what I use in my house, whether I'm being efficient or not, whether I've changed all my bulbs or be a bit more strategic in how I use my electricity, and why that's important for the overall vision that you have?
Labeling, brand labeling. Read your labels and get the best product out there. That's one of the things we're actually harping out well. And then also when you go to the schools, we share this video. There is a Caribbean Energy Week video that we actually share with the general public on looking at things, because for some of them it's the first time they would see a brand sticker. You know, they would actually tell you, I've seen that, but I don't know what it's about. So that's part of our awareness that we're trying to do this year. So to get the general public aware of that.
And I know that you mentioned the culture. I mean, for a lot of families who are pinching their budget, when they go into a hardware store, wherever it is, they see two separate kind of bulbs, and they know, well,
Go
this
for
one
the cheaper.
Yeah, this one's cheaper. Pick up that one. How do you change that culture?
It's just showing them, teaching them that yes, it might be cheaper at the cashier, but every month you end up paying more for that bulb than you would if you'd pay the one sum up front. In the long run, it will save them. So it's this continuous campaign that we need to keep on going with, not just the school children, but the general public.
And we know that it's CARICOM Energy Week, so it's being celebrated across the entire region. What are some of the other initiatives taking place?
So other initiatives that are taking place and that we're actually
In the region.
and that we actually like to launch, and it's first time that we're going to mention it here in the country, so we're mentioning it here, is a photo competition, a regional photo competition where people can demonstrate sustainable energy. So it's not just renewable energy, it's sustainable energy. So we, as of today, on our website and on our Facebook page, we will set up the links, instructions, and guides for all people within the country to participate within this regional event. So all participants will go to the regional office in CARICOM, which is in Guyana, and from there the winners will be selected.
And I need to also mention, as it relates to that, this photographic competition is from the perception of the photographer.
Okay.
So I want to make that perfectly clear. It's
Yeah.
how they envision sustainable energy.
And then you made a very clear distinction just now.
Yeah.
Sustainable energy, not renewable, not just renewable energy. What's the difference?
So the difference is even when you do, say, cooking. You know, more or less in the rural areas, people would cook on open pit fires.
Yeah.
So actually, sustainable energy is a way of configuring those open pit fires to more enclosed fires. You're still using wood. You would still be, it's open flame, but it's more contained. So you use it more efficiently. So that's what we would then call sustainable cooking and sustainable cook stoves.
Okay, so it's more efficient.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I like what Jamie was asking in terms of other regional events that are taking place. Let's put Belize in perspective of the rest of the region. We speak a lot about Barbados when it comes to renewable energy because we know the emphasis and push that they've put with solar energy and individual household use. But how does Belize fare off in terms of the rest of the CARICOM states in our focus on renewable energy?
So we are actually the leading champions within the Caribbean and actually most of Central America when it comes to percentage of renewable energies in our energy mix. Currently, the only real country that is giving us a real run for our money is Costa Rica. So we are faring quite well. It's just that we would like to fare much better. And coming back to the theme, which is sustainable energy for sustainable development, we actually right now have a pilot program in La Grasa village in the Cayo district, where this community has no electricity. The people that can afford have generators to probably run a fridge for 3 hours. So the Ministry of Energy, along with the Swiss government and a local solar company called SESB, have partnered to do a solar grid within that community. So it's going to be a 90 kilowatt solar grid where we are going to be electrifying 45 households.
And there's several little communities like that that still don't have access to power. Is this going to be a pilot that perhaps will be replicated in the other villages? Because we know the cost of having to take the electricity sources into the villages just because they're so widely dispersed.
So that's exactly what we want to do here. This is the pilot program to see what type of management system, what type of financial system, how we can actually have the community involved in the building, operation, and maintenance of the systems as well. All of these are important for the longevity of the program. We just don't want to give a system to a community and leave it be. We want to ensure that 10 years, 15 years from now, that system is still running and actually has expanded. Because we know once a community receives electricity, they grow exponentially. They get more productive uses. The children will be able to study at night. So it's, again, it ties back into the theme, sustainable energy for sustainable development.
Yeah.
In terms of wind turbine energy, where are we at in the acceptance of it, the use of it?
The acceptance is widely accepted. It then now comes down to how feasible and economically feasible it is. So from the rudimentary studies that we have, wind is not viable for commercial basis. But if we get investors to come and do investment grade investigations, it might be that it is. And if it is, then they can then enter the auction schemes that we have every so often and include that in our energy mix.
Now, what other programs are coming on board? I know, as you pointed out, Santander will get rolling with their bagasse, their energy production. What other programs are coming on board that you hope will be able to significantly contribute to the national grid?
So other projects that were actually accepted by the Public Utilities Commission was GSR Energy, which is another biomass bagasse, but instead of producing sugar, they'll be producing ethanol. Other accepted projects were 15 megawatt solar farm as well, and the possibility of 2 other small installations of hydro. So we have great possibilities in Belize to further increase our energy mix in renewable energies.
Now, how many of these producers are Belizean companies? In other words, are we seeing an interest from Belizean investors in jumping in and taking advantage of the opportunities to create energy as well?
Yes, we have. Actually, as we know, it's Santander, it's a Guatemalan parent company, where currently right now, a lot of the workers are going to be Belizeans and are Belizeans currently, while GSR is actually being spearheaded by Belizeans with foreign investment, but it's a Belizean-run company as well. And so will be the hydro and actually the solar farm.
Okay, fantastic. And that really shows that even the business sector in Belize are realizing that it's a viable business, but also one for sustainable development. So we're quickly running out of time, and I wanted to get the opportunity to talk about just the activities that you've been having for Energy Week, and of course the details of the Energy Fair on Saturday.
Okay, great. We're basically, the week started out with the minister giving his opening remarks, which was held on the 13th. The week runs from the 13th through to the 19th. So Minister Frank Papamena did the official opening of the week. Then we went to Wesley High School on Monday, where we had a very good audience with the third farmers, actually, as you can see there. And they were very engaged in the discussion of energy, and I was very, very pleased with what they their output. Yeah. So we want to, of course, thank the administration and staff and students of Wesley College for that wonderful event. And then yesterday we were in Belmopan, capital city, doing the same thing with some of the students as well. And again, that was wonderful. Today we are here with you all, spreading the word about sustainable energy and energy use, and also about the fair. The fair on Saturday, November 19th, we have the annual energy fair, again at the Ella Habani Park in Dangriga town.
What can people expect at this fair?
You can expect, like Ryan rightly mentioned, culture, because we're going to mesh it with culture. With all the most representative from energy individuals, such as a group of companies. So you'll be able to find products and services that are in line with what we are looking at for Energy Awareness Week.
Is a part of the awareness encouraging young people to access different fields of energy? Because I know that I'm very much so an advocate for alternative forms of employment. Not everybody needs to be an accountant.
Yes, so certainly. I believe me and you share the same view that not all of us, how am I supposed to put it? I don't want to put a negative spin on it, but for me, academics is not all. I mean, you can do certain other things that are very viable. You know, and that's one of the things that I'm a true believer in that as a former teacher. Definitely agree with you on that.
Yeah, so the exposure to the different industries will give people opportunities to see what all they can tap into.
Certainly.
All right. So gentlemen, we want to thank you for joining us and sharing a bit about what you all have been up to. Definitely some interesting projects coming on stream, so hopefully we can get a chance to elaborate those further as they come closer to rollout. But we appreciate you being here for Energy Week.
Ms. Marley, if you can allow me one, just to big up our sponsors. Without them, this wouldn't have been made possible. Want to thank the Public Utilities Commission, Belize Natural Energy, Belize Electric Company Limited, Belize Electricity Limited, Belize Telemedia Limited, and Quartz Belize. Thanks very much for your contribution to make this possible. And also, in closing, I want to take this time out to single-handedly thank our Minister, Honorable Frank Papamena, and our CEO, Dr. Peter Allen, the dedicated team at the Energy Unit. I couldn't harp on this more. Under the director leadership of Mr. Ambrose Tillett, we have Ryan Cobb, we have Dion Kelly, Cara Roches, Miss Rosalie Gentle, Mr. Evan Tate, Mr. Joshua Martinez, and of course our able secretary, Ms. Loma Gulles. We couldn't have done it without you all. So again, thanks, Thanks. And looking forward to seeing you on the fair in Dangriga on November 19th. Thanks
Thank you
again.
very much
you
as
for-
well.
Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll be speaking to representatives of the Department of Transport about the impending bus fare increase. So stay tuned.